We're about to embark on an incredible journey that's set to make history. Today, we're diving into the Artemis II mission, which heralds NASA's return to sending humans to the moon. Are you ready? Because this mission will be the first to carry humans close to the moon since 1972. So, what awaits us on Artemis II? Let's explore this thrilling mission together. Artemis II is the second planned flight of NASA's Artemis program and the first crewed Artemis mission. This historic mission will include 3 astronauts from NASA and 1 astronaut from the Canadian Space Agency. Our brave crew members are NASA Commander Reid Wiseman, NASA pilot Victor Glover, NASA mission specialist Christina Koch, and CSA mission specialist Jeremy Hansen. This daring team will orbit the moon before returning to Earth, and their adventure will begin in September 2025, lasting about 10 days. Artemis II will utilize the massive Space Launch System mega rocket and the Orion spacecraft to launch the crew towards the moon. Astronauts and mission controllers will collect data on the performance of Orion and the crew to evaluate how ready the Artemis program is to send humans to the moon's surface. This critical data is vital for the success of future lunar missions. The inclusion of a CSA astronaut is a result of Canada's commitment to providing the Canadarm3, a robotic arm that will service NASA's Gateway space station. In exchange, CSA will receive astronaut seats and scientific slots on some future Artemis missions, including Artemis II. This collaboration once again highlights the importance of international cooperation in space exploration. The planned launch date for Artemis II is currently set for September 2025, but this depends on several factors being ready. NASA is continuing to evaluate data collected from Artemis I to make necessary adjustments for Artemis II. Artemis I gathered radiation and engineering data to assess if the SLS and Orion spacecraft were ready for human transport. This data is crucial for the safety and success of crewed missions. The crewed Artemis II mission requires new spacesuits designed to withstand radiation beyond the low Earth orbit, where astronauts receive additional protection. Spacesuit manufacturer Axiom Space introduced a prototype spacesuit in March 2023, but there have been no major updates since then. These new suits are crucial for astronaut safety and are still under development. As of June 2023, NASA is assembling the key components of the Artemis II hardware, with the expectation of conducting testing and integration in the later stages of the process. One major change from Artemis I will be the addition of an environmental system to provide oxygen to astronauts, as this was not required for the previous uncrewed mission. This change is crucial for ensuring the crew's survival during long-duration space missions. The Artemis II crew was announced at an event held on April 3, 2023 at Ellington Field, near the Johnson Space Center in Houston, which hosts NASA's aircraft operations. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson highlighted the crew's significance by stating, "Reid, Victor, Christina, and Jeremy each have their own stories as adventurers, but together they represent our belief." NASA Commander Reid Wiseman is a U.S. Navy aviator who was a test pilot and project officer at Patuxent River Naval Air Station in Maryland when he was selected by NASA in 2009. Artemis II will be Wiseman's second mission. He has 165 days of space experience from flying on Expedition 41 to the International Space Station between May and November 2014. Wiseman's experience and leadership skills are critical to the success of Artemis II. NASA pilot Victor Glover will be the first black astronaut to orbit the moon. A Navy pilot, Glover has flown aircraft in the US, Italy, Japan, and the Middle East during his first spaceflight assignment. Selected by NASA in 2013, Artemis II will be Glover's second space mission. In his first mission, he served as the pilot for SpaceX's Crew 1 capsule, which launched on November 15, 2020. Crew 1 was the first operational commercial crewed mission to the ISS. Glover's courage and determination will play a significant role in this historic mission. NASA mission specialist Christina Koch is a scientist and engineer who has previously worked at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center and the Johns Hopkins University Applied Physics Laboratory. and has also served at the Amundsen Scott South Pole Station and Palmer Station in Antarctica. Selected by NASA in 2013, Koch holds the record for the longest single spaceflight by a woman with 328 days in space, achieved during the first all-female spacewalk. Koch's experience and scientific expertise will be crucial in achieving the goals of Artemis II. Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen is a fighter pilot in the Royal Canadian Air Force, with previous work including assignments with North American Aerospace Defense Command and in the Arctic. Selected by the CSA in 2009, Hansen has not yet flown due to Canada's smaller contributions to space missions. However, he has extensive experience with space programs in remote environments and has held numerous senior management positions. Hansen's international collaboration and management skills will be crucial in his role on Artemis II. Artemis II will be the first major test of the Space Launch System and Orion spacecraft systems with crew on board. According to the Canadian Space Agency, the mission aims to achieve 4 key readiness milestones: mission planning, system performance, crew interfaces, and guidance and navigation systems. The mission trajectory will place Orion into an orbit around Earth known as a hybrid free return trajectory, which involves 2 orbits around Earth to gain speed for trans-lunar injection. Orion will then orbit the Moon in a free return trajectory before returning directly to Earth. The mission is expected to last between 8 to 10 days, but could extend up to 3 weeks depending on mission objectives. The 4 astronauts on Artemis II will be the farthest humans from Earth since Apollo 13 in the 1970s, reaching a maximum altitude of 8,889 kilometers above the Moon's surface. This historic distance marks the beginning of a new era in space exploration and represents a significant step forward for humanity's desire for discovery. According to the European Space Agency, the mission must reach the following milestones. Launch. Lifting off from Launch Complex 39B at NASA's Kennedy Space Center into low Earth orbit. Orbit maneuver. Approximately 40 minutes after launch, a maneuver will be performed to raise the perigee, or lowest point, of the orbit. This will be accomplished using the SLS Interim Cryogenic Propulsion Stage. Apogee burn. A burn to raise the orbit to its highest point, or apogee, also using the ICPS. System check. 42 hours into the mission, a comprehensive system check will be conducted to ensure that all systems are functioning correctly and that everything is in order before Orion begins its journey to the Moon. This step is critical for the successful progression of the mission. Trans-lunar injection. After the system check, the Orion spacecraft will perform the trans-lunar injection maneuver to proceed towards the Moon. This maneuver will enable the spacecraft to enter the Moon's gravitational field and achieve the necessary velocity to reach it. Lunar orbit. Once Orion reaches the Moon, it will enter an orbit around it. During this phase, the crew will observe the Moon's surface and surroundings, collect scientific data, and evaluate the performance of the systems. This orbital phase will last approximately 3 days, allowing the crew to examine various regions of the Moon. Free return trajectory. Following their observations and data collection around the Moon, the Orion spacecraft will enter a free return trajectory. This trajectory will allow the spacecraft to pass around the Moon and begin its return journey to Earth. The free return trajectory aims to use the natural gravitational forces of the Moon to conserve energy and ensure a safe return. Return to Earth. After completing the free return trajectory, the Orion spacecraft will perform its final maneuvers to return to Earth. This phase will ensure the crew safely re-enters the atmosphere and lands. The goal is to minimize potential risks during the crew's return to Earth. Landing and recovery. Upon re-entry into the atmosphere, the Orion spacecraft will land safely on Earth. The landing will occur in the designated landing area, where recovery teams will meet the crew. This phase will ensure the crew's safe return to Earth and the successful completion of the mission. The Artemis II mission will not only return humans to the Moon, but also offer a significant opportunity for important scientific research and exploration. The crew will examine potential landing sites on the moon, observe the geological structures on its surface, and collect critical data for future missions. This data will help us learn more about the moon's formation and evolution and provide a crucial foundation for possible human missions to Mars. The Artemis II mission underscores the importance of international cooperation. Contributions and collaboration from the Canadian Space Agency are pivotal to the success of this historic mission. Additionally, the European Space Agency and other international partners are making significant contributions to the success of the Artemis program. This collaboration highlights that space exploration is a global effort and underscores the importance of working together for future missions. The success of Artemis II will lay a crucial foundation for future Artemis missions and the ultimate goal of human missions to Mars. This mission will be a significant step in solidifying humanity's presence in space and making new discoveries. In the later stages of the Artemis program, plans include crewed landings on the moon and establishing a permanent lunar base. Thank you for watching our video. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. What do you think will happen during the Artemis II mission? We look forward to your comments. See you in the next video, and remember to keep looking at the sky.